believe they have finally solved the yogurt shop murders after 34 years. However, who was this serial killer? And how did he manage to get out of prison after serving only 4 years for shooting a woman multiple times? Yes, he was let out of jail after serving only 4 years for this crime. And when he was released, he committed several assaults as well as murders all over the country. However, who was Robert Eugene Brashers? Let's find out right now. Wednesday, my Cajun cuties. Yes, it's me, Anne Marie, aka the Cajun Crime Queen from Carrico, Louisiana. Cajun born, Cajun bred, and when I die, I'll be Cajun dead. I hope after this video that you like, subscribe, and comment, and don't forget to press the notification bell so you never miss a video from me, Anne Marie. I hope you have a beverage. I hope you have a snuggle partner or a snuggle fur partner. Those are the best, and you're ready to hear a true crime story with yours truly. And as always, I want to know, are y'all drinking that water? Are y'all staying hydrated? Are y'all getting those tickers up? Remember, just a quick 20-30 minute walk, especially first thing in the morning, get those endorphins up, and you're going to have an amazing, wonderful day, I promise you. And as always, thank you all for joining me on this Wicked Wednesday evening as we discuss another true crime case. Yes, y'all, police believe they have finally solved the yogurt shop murders after almost 34 years. Yes, after almost 34 years, police believe they have finally found the perpetrator who committed this gruesome, horrible, horrific crime. This crime shocked the city of Austin, Texas for decades. Everyone wanted to know who committed this crime. This crime was so devastating to the entire community. And I remember hearing about this case back in 1996 when I was 12 years old, because it was some kind of 5-year mark and the case still hadn't been solved. Everyone wanted to know who committed this gruesome, horrific crime. This crime hits home for me because, as a lot of you may know, I have 2 young daughters, ages 20 and 14. And I always think to myself, how can this happen? How can someone break into a yogurt shop, and commit this type of murder on 4 teenage girls, one as young as 13? It is heartbreaking and probably one of the most devastating cases I've ever covered. Tonight, I'm going to take y'all back to December 6, 1991 in Austin, Texas. When this crime happened, I'm also going to discuss the serial killer who police believe committed this gruesome crime. I'm going to take you back to some of the crimes he committed back in the 80s and 90s. It was December 6, 1991 in Austin, Texas, a Friday night, when 2 teenage girls, 15-year-old Sarah Harbison and her friend 13-year-old Amy Ayers, were at the mall. They decided they wanted to go meet Sarah's older sister, 17-year-old Jennifer Harbison, at her job, I Can't Believe It's Yogurt, that Friday night. They decided to go there. They stayed there for a little bit. While they were there, they hung out. They watched Jennifer Harbison closed down the store with her 17-year-old co-worker, Eliza Thomas. The girls, I'm sure, were helping them. They were probably laughing, cutting up, having a good time on this Friday night. It was said the girls were having a sleepover. So it was just going to be a fun Friday night for teenage girls. And police believe the store was closing around 11 o'clock. It was said there were customers still in the store. It was also said that what the girls would do, like we did when, as y'all know, I worked at restaurants, we would lock the door so no one else would come in. And when the customers that were still there, when they were done eating, we would unlock the door and let the customers exit out. So police believe that this gruesome murder happened around 11 p.m. Friday night, December 6, 1991. Police believe someone interrupted the girls while they were doing their closing duties. And who knows, did someone break in? Was someone hiding in the bathroom? I mean, what could have happened? We just don't know. And before I move any further with this case, I wanted to tell y'all, this yogurt shop was not located in the middle of the mountains on a deserted road where no one can see it. This yogurt shop was located in a strip mall, and it was all lit up, and you could see straight through to the yogurt shop through these huge windows. So this was a very open, busy area, this particular yogurt shop in this strip mall. So all of a sudden, an officer is driving by and sees the yogurt shop is on fire, which is very rare. You wouldn't think a yogurt shop would catch on fire. However, it could happen. The police officer calls the fire department. The fire department arrives. They start putting out the fire, and that is when they discover the 4 bodies of 17-year-old Eliza Thomas, 17-year-old Jennifer Harbison, 15-year-old Sarah Harbison, and 13-year-old Amy Ayers. Sarah, Jennifer, and Eliza were found kind of stacked on top of each other in the back of the yogurt store. They had been gagged with their own underwear. They had been tied. They had been all shot in the head. However, 13-year-old Amy Ayers was found more towards the front of the store, kind of by the bathroom. Police believe that she may have survived the gunshot wound and tried to run away. I also saw in another video that a cash register was thrown at her, and there may have been something tied around her neck. And it was also said she was shot a second time with a different gun. Who knows? But police believe Amy put up a fight. She was still alive and she tried to get away. That's why her body was found separate from the other 3 bodies in the back of the store. Police were shocked. Police were at a standstill. Who would go to this yogurt shop, commit this murder, then set the place on fire? They couldn't figure out who could have committed this crime. They interviewed several people. They spoke to several people. There were no witnesses. No one knew who committed this crime. And get this, y'all, several people have committed to this crime. Several people want to be connected to this crime in some type of way. And police interviewed these individuals, and their details and the details of the case didn't match up. So police quickly ruled them out as any type of suspect. As y'all all know, just like the Black Dahlia murder, people want to identify themselves with a huge crime, which I don't know why. I would want to be connected to any type of crime, especially a gruesome crime like this. Why would I want to identify myself with a crime that took the lives of 4 teenage girls? It just doesn't make sense to me. However, some people were so obsessed with this crime, they wanted to be connected to it, and they wanted to tell everyone, hey, I'm the one that committed this crime. I want to confess to it. However, none of it played out, and no one was a suspect until 1999 when police arrested 4 men. And these 4 men were arrested. 2 of them said they committed the crime. They kind of blamed it on each other. They said they were there for days, so they just finally admitted to the crime. They were tried. They were convicted. However, after serving not that many years, they were let out of prison because DNA didn't match. No one could connect these 4 men to this crime. The DNA didn't match that was on the girls. There were no witnesses. There was no evidence. Nothing could connect these 4 men to the yogurt shop murders. So once again, the police were at a standstill until now, until September of 2025, when police finally have identified who they believe is the killer to these 4 beautiful teenage girls. And his name is Robert Eugene Brashers. Robert was born on March 13th, 1958 in Newport News, Virginia. When he was young, his family moved to Alabama. He had no trouble with the law. I couldn't find anything that was wrong with him. No known run-ins with the law. He wasn't arrested when he was young. However, if y'all know anything I don't, y'all leave it down in the comments below. When Robert was young, he enlisted in the Army, and he served in the Navy for several years. Robert Eugene Brashers moves to New Orleans, Louisiana in the early 80s. In the mid-80s, he moves to Fort Myers, Florida, and that is when he committed his first known crime in 1985. It was said he was out all night with this lady, and when she refused his advances, he shot her multiple times in the head and the neck. However, she survived. She survived, and he was sentenced to 12 years in prison and was released after only serving 4 years. Excuse my language, but what the hell? He shoots a woman several times, and when you shoot somebody several times, you're probably shooting them to take their life. However, he is going to be released after serving only 4 years. He didn't even serve half his time, and they release him. What is that? What the heck is going on? I mean, why would you release this monster after he shot somebody several times? That's just crazy to me. In the early 1990s, Robert Eugene Brashers gets married. He has a daughter. He has 2 stepdaughters. After he is released from prison, he lives in South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, and in 1992, he is arrested for grand theft auto, unlawful possession of a weapon, and theft. Police believe these are Robert Eugene's victims. The essay and murder of a woman in April of 1990 in South Carolina. The yogurt murders in December of 1991 in Austin, Texas, taking the lives of Eliza, Amy, Sarah, and Jennifer. The essay of a person in Memphis, Tennessee in March of 1997. The essay and murder of a mother and her 12-year-old daughter in March of 1998 in Missouri. And the attempted assault of a person in Dyersburg, Tennessee in 1998. Police believe he is in fact a serial killer, and who knows, there could be more, because it sounds like Robert Eugene Brashers was on a killing spree all over the country. On January 13th, 1999, police noticed a stolen vehicle parked at the Super 8 Hotel in Kennett, Missouri. When the police confront the hotel workers, they find out that Robert Eugene Brashers arrived in the stolen vehicle just days earlier with his wife and 3 daughters. When police confront Robert Eugene Brashers, he puts up a fight and takes his wife as well as 3 daughters hostage. Why on earth would you take your wife and 3 daughters hostage? Why? After 4 hours, Robert releases the hostages, and that is when Robert Eugene Brashers takes his own life by shooting himself in the head. Just 6 days later, on January 19, 1999, Robert Eugene Brashers passes away due to his head injuries from shooting himself with his own firearm. Now the main question, the question we all want the answer to. How did police connect Robert Eugene Brashers with the yogurt shop murders? We all want to know that, because this is not a case that happened last week, last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. This case happened almost 34 years ago, and Robert Eugene Brashers is deceased. So how did police connect all of this evidence and match it to Robert Eugene Brashers? DNA was taken from Amy R.'s fingernails, an ice cream scoop, and a belt buckle. The only physical evidence recovered from the yogurt shop has been matched to Robert Eugene Brashers. In July of 2025, a shell casing was traced to a weapon that had been used in an unsolved murder in Kentucky. The crime had similar details to the yogurt shop murders. Around 2018, Robert Eugene Brashers was exhumed to get DNA, and the DNA that was left on the victims matched Robert Eugene Brashers' DNA. He was never caught or convicted for any of these essays or murders, since he is already deceased. Robert Eugene Brashers had multiple fake IDs, even faked his own obituary to establish a new identity. He had several different names as well. When police interviewed his daughter, she said her mom would make her call her dad by several different names. In less than 48 hours after the yogurt shop murders, Robert Eugene Brashers is stopped near El Paso, Texas. So he was in the Texas area around the time of the murders. The officer ran the plates on the vehicle, and the car had been stolen from Georgia on November 29th. He was also in possession of a .380 pistol, and that pistol is the same pistol used in the yogurt shop murders. And get this, Robert Eugene Brashers wanted his pistol back, and his father had to jump several hoops to get that pistol back, which is extremely hard after committing a crime. And the DNA under Amy R.'s fingernails is 2.5 million to 1 that the DNA is a perfect match to Robert Eugene Brashers. Then cops find out that he can't be excluded from an unsolved murder in Kentucky. 2 guns were used in the yogurt shop murders, a .22 and a .380 pistol, and Robert was known to carry multiple guns at the same time. He is known to tie his victims up with their own clothing, just like he did in the yogurt shop murders. He is known to essay children if given the opportunity. He often shoots his victims in the head. Robert Eugene Brashers committed a home invasion where he controlled 4 women alone, tied them up, and essayed one of them in 1997 in Memphis, Tennessee. So he could have definitely committed a murder, just like the yoga shop's murders. Now, everyone that I speak to about this case says the same thing. Anne-Marie, there is no way it is one person. There is no way one person could take control over 4 girls. Why not? Why not? I don't know about y'all, but if somebody had a gun pointed at me, telling me what to do, I'm going to do whatever I can to survive. I'm in fight or flight mode. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to wait and I'm going to hope that I survive and get out of this situation. These were 4 teenage girls, 4 little girls. I'm sure they would have done anything to stay alive. They would have listened to whatever he said, done whatever he told them to do, because they wanted to live and get out of that yoga shop alive. So of course, one person could have committed this crime. And Amy Ayers, who was only 13 at the time, I do believe she put up a fight for her life. And that is why Robert's DNA was found underneath her fingernails and she was found in a different area of the yoga shop because she was probably, in fact, trying to get away from Robert Eugene Brashers. However, he shot her a second time. My heart goes out to this family, especially Jennifer and Sarah's parents. Why? Because that was their only children. Those 2 daughters were their only little girls. And to lose their whole life in one single night is devastating and heartbreaking. And Amy and Eliza had siblings. They had parents. These little girls were their parents' whole world. And they were taken from them in a flash like that by a monster. By a monster who was released from prison, by the way. He was released. He should have stayed in jail for the rest of his life. When he shot that woman several times back in the 80s, he should have never been released from prison, because when he was released from prison, look what he did. He committed several murders. The police know that he committed at least 7, and there could be more. And I want to know, I always want to know y'all opinions. Why was Robert Eugene Brashers at a yoga shop? Was he passing through? Was he stalking these girls? Could he see them through a window? Was there one that he wanted and ended up taking 4? What was he doing at a yoga shop on a Friday night alone by himself? That just makes me wonder, why was he there? I want to know if he stalked the place for a couple of days and saw the girls. I want to know if he just pulled off and just happened to pull into this yoga shop and saw the opportunity to commit this crime. What was he thinking? What was he thinking? And you know, we may never know, because Robert Eugene Brashers is deceased. But who knows? Maybe people have more details, and maybe the cops will tell us more details in time. My final thought, you know, I always give y'all my final thought. And my final thought is, I just want to thank the police department for finally solving this case after almost 34 years. Look how far DNA has come in the past couple of years. Back in 1991, we couldn't perform all the tests that we have today. DNA wasn't that big like it is now. All of this DNA testing has come to light just in the past couple of years, and that is a huge break in all of these cases. So we have hope with other cold cases, just like JonBenet Ramsey. JonBenet Ramsey's case is almost 30 years old, and who knows, we can finally have a match for that DNA. Remember, an unknown male DNA was left on JonBenet Ramsey. So who knows, maybe in a couple of years, police will finally solve the JonBenet Ramsey case, just like they solved the yoga shop murders case. And my heart and my prayers go up to the girls' families. And I don't know if y'all know, but Eliza's mom passed away years ago, and it was said she passed away from a broken heart. And I can totally understand that. To lose your 17-year-old daughter in such a gruesome way and never knowing who committed this crime, that is heartbreaking, that is devastating. I am happy the girls finally get the justice they deserve. I am happy the families finally have closure. And I am so happy that this man is not on the streets. He hasn't been on the streets in almost 30 years, but he is definitely away from us, and he cannot commit any type of crime. I hope after this video that you like, subscribe, and comment. And don't forget to press the notification bell so you never miss a video from me, Anne Marie. And as always, stay safe, always be aware of your surroundings, and always know that I'm here for each and every one of y'all. I will see y'all next week with more Cajun Crime Queen videos. And as always, thank y'all all so much for the love and support. And for you, I am truly grateful. And as always, I love y'all. Bye.